It's been about a month since we've gotten the bad news that Halo Infinite's going to be getting delayed, and it's kind of left us Halo fans in a really weird limbo sort of purgatory. We don't really know what's next. So what do we do with that? What do we do while we're in this meantime? You know, if we can't look forward, then I guess we gotta look back. And that's why today I'm going to be taking a look at all of the Halo titles that have released in my lifetime, at least the ones that I've played. I didn't play Halo Wars or any of the extra ones, but the mainline FPS series, and I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to give them a 1 to 10 rating, how I experienced them, and kind of just, you know, let you guys know what it looked like from my perspective. I also want to say I am by no means suggesting that I have the ultimate opinion on Halo or anything like that. This is just the way that Halo has impacted me for the last 19 years, kind of just reflecting on the release. I'm just going to be talking about each Halo in their prime, that, you know, mostly a 3-year gap of that. When it was the newest game, we're just going to be talking about it like that. All right, let's get into it. We're going to start out with CE. I'm a pretty big basketball fan, and what you see so commonly in the GOAT arguments is, you know, a huge comparison of eras. I don't really want to do that in this video. You'll see people talking about old players versus new players, and I think it's important to acknowledge the world around that, and that's a lazy argument too. People like to say, well, it's era specific, but when we're talking about Halo, we can't look at Combat Evolved. When I'm rating it now on this list, I'm going to be rating it as it came out in 2001, you know, from that perspective. I just want to make sure that's clear. We're not going to be comparing it to Advanced Movement, and as such, when we're talking about the Advanced Movement games, we'll be talking about that in the present tense as well. Combat Evolved released on November 15th, 2001. Now, I don't know what some of you guys might think, but I was actually 7 years old when that came out, and I don't know about you guys, but I have plenty of clear memories from when I was that young. I vividly remember all of this, and yeah, man, Combat Evolved just blew up. You know, I'm not interested in doing a history lesson. We're not doing a biography on each Halo here, but when the game came out, it blew up and it was all anybody could talk about. I grew up in Georgia, and in my school, that was the only thing that anybody was talking about. You know, I didn't really think about at the time whether or not that was a region-specific thing. It seemed like the whole world was just going crazy for this game. I eventually got to go over to my friend's house and play it, and man, I mean, campaign, 10 out of 10 epic experience. I'm actually replaying through it on stream, partially with one of my friends. You know, we're taking it a couple missions at a time, but it's just so much fun, man. Going back to the CE campaign is always a blast. I'm not the biggest lore guy. I'm not the hugest follower of the story. I certainly don't read the books or anything like that. I'm definitely more of a multiplayer type of guy, but I really enjoy playing through the classic campaigns, and they're always just a big part of my childhood, a lot of fun. And then there's multiplayer. You know, the first time playing split screen shooter, you know, playing Combat Evolved at my buddy's house, we must have put so many hours in. My friend loved to get in the Warthog, and I loved to get with the sniper, and so he just had fun scooting around on that, trying to run me over. I'd try to grab the rockets and snipe and try to blow him up. You know, even if my experience was super minimal in that, and there was a couple times I get to play split screen with multiple people, but for a lot of it, it was just, you know, one of my close friends and I playing it, and it still was an absolutely amazing game. And just, you know, I'm sure a lot of you guys have similar memories playing with siblings and stuff like that. I'm gonna give Combat Evolved a 9.5 out of 10, and the half is really just because I want to give one game on this list a 10 out of 10. I don't actually deduct anything from this game. I absolutely love it. And then came Halo 2. Like, there's not much to say about this either. I still didn't have my own Xbox. I still could only play at my buddy's house. But really, it was just like amplifying Combat Evolved. I mean, like, the campaign was epic and absolutely delivered. I had so much fun playing that with, you know, my friend back in the day. So many people love the Halo 2 campaign. It's one of the all-time favorites for a lot of people. It is their favorite for a lot of people. I may have not been doing button combos and stuff like that. I was younger and I didn't know about that stuff, but I was still just absolutely adoring it. The game just felt like the hype as well. Everything just felt like it was just like Combat Evolved on steroids, and that's just what it felt like. I have no complaints about this game either. It absolutely lived up to the hype. If I can say one thing, just a huge praise about it, is that there was a lot of hype, and it certainly didn't disappoint. And in recent years, that seems like that's kind of hard to do. So 9.5 out of 10 again.
Shit just got real! Back up, homies!
Halo 3 is where shit gets absolutely real for me, because I was finally able to save up and put money together to get my own Xbox 360, and I finally was on the wave of getting to grind it online every day, just like my friends, except I didn't get to play every day. I got to play on the weekends, but it doesn't matter. Halo 3, for a lot of you guys, I'm sure you're gonna absolutely, you know, remember, or just you were there, lived through it. When Halo 3 came out in 2007, there was absolutely nothing like it. It was just an insane experience. It was like, a lot of people talked about Fortnite when it was initially blowing up, like, this is like when Halo 3 blew up. Like, it seemed like everybody that played video games was playing that game. You know, we've seen some global popularity in other games in years following, but Halo 3 at the time was absolutely the biggest thing. And the multiplayer, I can't even tell you guys how many all-nighters I pulled. Just the amazing memories, playing custom games, playing ranked, trying to get a 50, doing all that stuff. I played the campaign countless times, going for all the challenges, getting the skulls, doing all that stuff, beating it on Legendary. I mean, Halo 3 to me was the best experience when it came out. It seemed like there was an endless amount of things to do. And for me, who would come off of playing a lot of single player games and playing most, you know, that was the first game I got to play online, really. I basically had only played single player games. Having an seemingly endless things to do was just absolutely magical. And, you know, Halo 3 for the 360 back in its prime was just an unparalleled experience for me. So that is going to earn my 10 out of 10 on the list. With that being said, now we get to move into the games that were less well received universally. Now we get to be critical. The year's 2010, and now we have Halo Reach. Now, a lot of you guys might be initially thinking like, oh great, this guy is gonna absolutely cook the shit out of every game that wasn't 1 through 3. And that's not true. I'm gonna cook a few of them, but I liked Reach a lot. Now, that being said, the introduction of armor abilities and things like that in Bloom was fucking terrible. The game was clearly, and I think anybody's lying to themselves if they believe that, but when the game came out, when Reach came out alongside Halo 3, it was just objectively nowhere near as fun. And I think that reflected in a lot of people's game time. I, like a lot of other people, initially, 2 days in, I was like, fuck this, I'm going back to Halo 3. But then after a little bit of that, I decided, you know, I don't really want to be left in the past. And at the time, I had like big aspirations to just be trying to get better. So I wanted to be on the modern recent game. So I powered through Reach and I tried to learn to love it, and I did actually, but the game got better with time, there's no doubt about it. That being said, this is unfortunately the first Halo where I didn't actually play the campaign, so the campaign is going to be exempt from this list. I have played a few missions on it, but I can't give the full review on this one just because I haven't played it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys about it, and I know I should because a lot of people say it's really good, and I want to be honest. I have never done it. That being said, I put an ungodly amount of time on Reach in the multiplayer. You know, I may not have loved it, but like I said, I really learned to love it, and I wanted to be good at the new one. I ended up loving Reach. I had a lot of time on it and a lot of memories. You know, it was a really fun multiplayer game once they kind of tuned the game down and reduced the bloom and did some things like that. I always enjoyed it. It was never my favorite. It was never better to me than Halo 3, but I did enjoy it. There's no doubt about it. I can't argue with that. So I'm gonna give Reach, just the multiplayer we're talking here, original OG Reach on the 360, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. That's what I'm gonna give it. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Halo 4 was actually the first game that I was able to get at midnight. And I don't mean Halo game, I mean any video game that I was able to get at midnight. Trying to convince my parents back in high school to go at midnight to go buy a video game. I also just never had the money for it, so it was just never gonna happen. But when Halo 4 came out as my freshman year at college, and I was definitely going to be getting it, and for the first time, I was going to be able to be playing at the very first minute alongside everybody else in the world, and I wasn't gonna have to start from behind. I grinded that game like nothing else for like 2 weeks until I realized, holy shit, this is kind of boring. I don't know, man. I hit a wall. I realized there was no ranks. The game just didn't feel right. The skill gap was not there. It's funny, when I first started playing, I really thought like, wow, I've turned a corner. I've gotten amazing. I'm just so good. How is this happening? I've just become such a good player overnight. The game was so much easier. And quickly I found myself back on Halo Reach, spending most of my time in my college dorm grinding Reach instead of Halo 4. Though a little bit later, they ended up adding ranks, and I grinded it then, and it was alright. I'd be lying if I said I had no fun with Halo 4. That would just be purely false. It may be, in my opinion, the worst individual installment of a Halo game, but I had fun with it, man. It's still a better shooter than most other shooters. You know, I really dislike, and I've always disliked the comparison to say that it was just COD. There were creative class, but the similarities pretty much stopped there. Even while you were ADSing with your BR, you were zooming in just like you always did. The lack of D-scope was just terrible. I'm not gonna make excuses for that. Terrible idea, but that's not COD-like. That doesn't make the game feel like COD. I don't think the game ever felt like COD. It doesn't. The fights are different. You have shields. It's just not the same. We should just stop saying that because it's not true. Just because the game sprints, it's not like COD. It's nothing like that. Honestly, man, I don't know. I'm not a huge lore guy, but I gotta say, for the times that I played it, I really enjoyed the Halo 4 campaign. I thought it was fun. I'm giving Halo 4 a 7 out of 10 just because, again, I put more hours into it. I put too many hours into it for me to just be like 5. That's just unfair. It's not true. You know, I debated talking about MCC here. It did release in 2014, so I feel like we need to talk about it. It was a sort of a mainline Halo release with Halo 2 Anniversary being in there. We know what it was, but let's just talk about it in its prime. MCC in its prime, 2014 up until 2015. Just the 1 year. Let's just take the 1 year before Halo 5 came out. Let's just, because that's what we're doing, right? Just while it's the newest. We're just talking about it while it's within its years as the newest, okay? The entire first year, and let's be frank here, the entire first handful of years, really up until recently, MCC has been an absolute joke. There's no excuse for it. It was just absolutely terrible. I have nothing positive to say during 2014 and MCC. 2 out of 10. I don't give you a 1 because I laughed and smiled for at least some minutes while playing it, so you get a 2, but that game was terrible. And now we're brought up to speed because we've been waiting for 5 years and we're finally here at Halo 5. What do I think about Halo 5? You know, I'm gonna actually do this one backwards because my channel's so built around Halo 5. A lot of you guys know me for Halo 5. I would wager 95% of you are here for Halo 5. 99. I'm gonna give you my Halo 5 rating first, and then I'll explain myself rather than talk about it with you guys. You guys know what my life has been like since the release of Halo 5. We're in it, okay? You've seen my channel grow. I'm gonna give Halo 5 an 8 out of 10. And I'm going to leave out campaign. I don't touch campaign. You know, really, when Halo 5 came out, I really didn't care about campaign, and I have not. And everybody hated it. So I just was like, great, I don't care about it then. Why do I give Halo 5 an 8 out of 10? Why don't I give it higher? Just multiplayer. You know, it's one of the best multiplayers in this and that. Oh, you love the movement. Cole, you love it. You love this game. Let me be very clear. I do love this game. 8 out of 10 is a high rating. I wouldn't give most games an 8 out of 10 that I've played. Halo 5 is also probably my favorite Halo, but not necessarily because the game itself is so genuinely, like, raw fun. It's that my life has been so affected by this game. It's been so changed. So much of my life has been around this game. This game has been so impactful for me. But that being said, I have plenty of criticisms on it. You know, some of the matchmaking, really, if we're just talking about Arena, I dislike that Warzone became such a big factor. I think Warzone's a fine addition to the game, but I thought that removing BTB and, you know, making this microtransaction heavy playlist. But beside the point, the ranking system was whack. You know, purely ranked playlists on Arena was whack. The social playlists have been terrible. The ranking system is just so frustrating. And I'm just speaking from 5 years of frustration for this point. But even if you ask me, you know, 1 year in, what's your out of 10 rating? I'm still not giving it a 10 out of 10, bro. It was never a 10 out of 10 game, and it never has been. There's been so many things that we love about it, the advancements of the meta and the movement. But if we're completely honest with ourselves, while it's, in my opinion, and a lot of people I think agree, like easily 343's best work as a full, you know, mainline Halo release, you know, I think it's far from what we could have seen in the past. I don't think that's, you know, I don't think Halo's lack of success that we saw in the early days of Halo now has to do with the fact that Halo is worse now or anything like that. I don't think that's true. I think that, you know, other games are bigger now, and Halo was the top dog back then, and that's just not the case anymore. Now, a lot of you guys might think instantly, like, well, if the game was good, they'd be top dogs again. It's like, it's just not true, man. There are people that have grown up now playing League of Legends for 15 years, and they're never gonna fucking stop, right? Like, there are people, like, committed to their own games, and you're never gonna get them off of them. Just like I'm a Halo kid, and you can't, look, for all the other companies that have tried, they haven't been able to pry me away yet. I'm here. This is where I am. So a lot of people are that way with their own games, and that's the way it's going to stay. The video game market is bigger, so it's more saturated. There's going to be variety. It's not just going to be exclusively a Halo world, and that's a good thing. But I think Halo 5 was a really good step in the right direction in terms of modernizing the Halo franchise. The multiplayer, I think, is absolutely brilliant in terms of, you know, what word am I looking for here? Brilliant in terms of innovation. I think they created a unique advanced movement experience. You know, people that like to say this is like COD, objectively not true. That's not true. Like, Halo 5 is not like COD. Halo 5 is like Halo 5, and I think 5 years in, we can see that it has purely developed itself into its own type of game. I even see, you know, a lot of diehard old Halo fans that have, you know, for years been like, no way Halo is this, or Halo 5 is this or that. Like, starting to concede at this point, like, Halo 5's movement is pretty insane, and, you know, we might not like advanced movement, but damn, Halo's advanced movement is better than everybody else's advanced movement, which, you know, in a way is like a great way for us to kind of feel connected as Halo fans still. I don't know, guys. I've gone on very long, but what, you know, I don't know, man. There's just, revisiting Halo was the only thing I could think to do right now, because I'm just so starved for Halo content. I think we all are. We're just ready for something new. But hey, if you guys like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, of course. And please drop in the comments down below, what would you guys give each Halo? And, you know, I would appreciate if you guys take the time in your comment too to add the context. If you didn't play the campaign of this Halo, mention that. If you didn't play the multiplayer of this Halo, mention that, and give it your rating however you want. I just think it's worth to give that little bit of extra context for people. And, you know, let's have some discussion about it. All right, guys, I won't keep you guys waiting for too much longer. I really appreciate you guys watching. Take it easy, guys. Much love.